Good morning, everybody. I'm just running a little behind, so I'm so sorry. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm so sorry I'm a little late. Just give me a second to get everything set up. I got my sage burning. We're going to do a little prayer. Today's just a day that I need to go because everything's just right now. Okay. So thank you, everybody, for joining who is here. I really appreciate it. If you could take the time, please, to like this live stream and share this on your social media, and also subscribe to my channel. That would be great. All right. Hello. Today is January 24th on 2021. Welcome to the Key of Soul Awakening. Our community here joins together to help the understanding of all of our paths in life, to raise our vibration, and to live our highest and best lives. If you have a question for me, if you would like me to do a reading for you, please pop it in the chat box below with your date of birth. And my moderator, Bob, who most of you already know is my husband, will send it over to me. I do not keep the chat up for myself only because I do have ADHD, so I get distracted. So he sends me your questions and then I pop back and forth. All right, so if you're new here, welcome. I named this community the Key to Soul Awakening only because Key, C-A-Y, is a small island in the Caribbean. It's a term we use for an island, and I live in the Caribbean. And I was only brought here because of divine planning and the use of the law of attraction. There was no other reason. And it's spelled C-A-Y, but pronounced Key. So this is the Key of Soul Awakening. I'm Stacie, and I'm a psychic medium. I offer free live readings here on YouTube every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. On a couple times a week. I try to at different times of day, so make sure you hit that bell when you subscribe so you know when I go live. It's not planned during the week. It's just whenever I have space and I can come on and talk to all of you. I'm also a spiritual coach offering one-on-ones with people, teaching them how to live their highest and best life through all of the laws of the universe. The links to contact me are above me in the banner on my page, and also below in the description. Again, if you like this live stream, please like it, share on your social media, and make sure you subscribe and hit that bell. We are going to open today with a prayer. I usually do this before my live stream, but because I'm just running a little behind, I'm going to do it all with you. So this is a prayer I normally do generally before my meetings. Sometimes it changes with whatever my guides tell me. Let me put my cards down. I have my sage burning. Here we go. Go ahead and close your eyes and take a deep breath in. I'm going to as well. In trust, we are here, divine source, and in all that is oneness, truth, love, light, patience, and kindness. Requesting information for myself, Stacie, and guidance for myself and all of those who are listening and interacting with me during this transformational time. We ask that the wholeness of those that are listening, those in spirit, our guides, our master teachers, be here with us to protect us and guide us through this transformational time with the white light of source energy. With deepest gratitude, we thank you for this now that we are experiencing together, and we thank you for the opportunity to raise our vibration together as we live and breathe. Amen. All right, so let me pop over and see if we have any questions. I feel a little calmer now. Hello, Gaggy. How are you doing? Hey, Gail. How are you? Nice to see all of you. All right, so if you have questions, go ahead. I'm going to pop back and forth between the topics I'm going to have to talk about and also with your questions. All right. Again, if you'd like a reading, place your date of birth in the chat box and ask me anything. The only thing I'm going to say is I'm not answering questions about anything politics, government, or religion based. And it's not that I'm not taking a stand on either one of them. It's based on the law of polarity, and where I don't try to present one side or the other and push one side or the other. I mean, really, there's not one or two sides. There's many different sides of every issue. And if we lean too far one side or the other, it throws off our law of polarity, and it kind of makes us feel discombobulated is a great word I'm thinking right now. All right, so all my links are below if you want to schedule a one-to-one reading. I'm also starting to take small group readings, so it's 2 to 5 people, friends or family, in one session. I put the link below for that as well. And oh, so exciting! I do have new Patreons I want to welcome. If you would like to join my Key to the Soul Awakening, please go over to Patreon. It's patreon.com/thekey, THECAY. If you refer somebody to my Patreon account and they sign up, I have a special gift for you. So make sure you mention your name to put it in there. I have a slot for there. They can put your name in. Also, I enjoy having people who are younger than 18 watching this channel. I really do. I love educating people. However, I can only answer spiritual questions about one's life if you're 18 or over, only because I'm just more comfortable that way. And I hope you all understand like the underlying reasonings why I don't think I have to really go into that. But if you're 18 or over, go ahead and ask a question. You do need your parents' permission in order to, ask. It gets a little mucky there. So just make sure that you're 18 or over when you're asking. If you have any technical issues, like why your question isn't showing up, because that happens sometimes, Bob's my moderator. Go ahead and tag him or ask him in the comments in the chat section. I don't care if you guys talk amongst yourselves in the chat either. Go ahead and do that while I'm talking. That's fine. Okay, so here's where I need a reality check. This is where I need you guys to clap back at me for complaining that it's cold where I'm living, because I'm freezing. It's 70 degrees, which is 21 degrees Celsius here in the Caribbean. So go tell me that I'm, shouldn't be complaining that it's cold. Tell me where you are and what the temperature is, because the last 2 days I've been freezing. And it's stupid because it's like 70 degrees outside. It should be beautiful. Okay, pause 1 second. I don't know. I have to pause my OneDrive. Hold on. Bob just told me to do that. And I don't remember how to do that, so signed in. Oi. Okay, so I'm going a little scattered, am I? Hold on 1 second. Bob, I don't remember how to do that. Right click on what? I'm so technologically, ugh. I don't see it at all. Oh, is this it? Sorry, pause. It's creative. I don't know. By the time, bottom right. By the time, bottom right. I don't see it at all. But I will mention to everybody. Oh, wow. Okay, I might be on the wrong internet. I don't have it. If I am dragging it all, it's only because I've been having trouble with my internet. Hey, I love dogs. It's 9 degrees. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Gail. If I'm dragging it all, I need you guys to know I've been having trouble with my internet and my computer. So if I'm dragging, I'm really sorry. Sometimes it gets like a little digity. And if I drop, I will try to come back on when I can. Okay. But I think we should be fine because Bob fixed this a couple days ago. So I don't think I'm going to drop it. I just think I'm on the wrong internet, and I didn't realize I was in the wrong Wi-Fi connection. It's not something I actually check. Sorry. All right. So hey everybody. I feel like the gang's all back. Hey everybody. So we have Gail here, Gaggy. I love dogs. Welcome. You got 4 inches of snow. Awesome. My neighbor messaged me the other day. There's a manatee in our canal. So I mean, we have a manatee. You have snow. So all right. Let's go back to where I was on my, thanks Bob for mentioning. Okay, so I want to tell you, what am I reading this week? I just got this new book. You need to see it. It's Deepak Chopra's new book. Okay, this is so great. This book is so great. It's called Total Meditation Practices in Living the Life. And even the introduction just blew me away. I had trouble putting this down. But it's really, the beginning is talking about stress and all the stresses that we have. The question he asks in the beginning is, first, however, I'm going to ask the most basic question. What makes a person truly happy? There are probably as many answers as there are people in the world. I love when he talks, I swear. I can't wait to get into this book. I'm going to do a book review on this probably in another week, but I highly recommend you get this because I'm 4 pages in and I'm already like, ooh, he's just an amazing guy, right? All right. Also, yeah, I want to thank my Patreon supporters. My newest Patreon members, Anastasia, Melinda, and Tina, are joining the about dozen or so I already have key supporters. I also want to thank Gail and Lisa for always being my Manifest and Empower members. So thank you for being there. If you're interested in joining my club, it starts at $5 a month. You get equal access to me, one-to-one daily support. You can get exclusive memberships. And also, because I have all of these new members that pushed me up to a level. I now get to tell my conversation with ghosts story just for my Patreon members. So I can't wait to tape that. Later this week, I am going to be doing, we're going to start a series that is going to be called Spiritual Tea. And we're going to be talking about my friend Holly and my friend Torrance and even my daughter Lily. We're going to be talking about different movies and TV shows that are on spirituality and just talking about like all the fun stuff that has to go in with it so we can kind of break up all the seriousness. So look for that. I'm going to have it up probably by next weekend. All right. Let's see what else is going on. Yeah, manatees, awesome. Yep, they are awesome. I didn't get a chance to go over and see that one specifically, but I will next time. Oops, yep, and I forgot Kirthi. Thank you, Kirthi, also joining my Patreon. I knew I forgot somebody. I'm so sorry. All right, so today I'm going to be talking about, again, the law of attraction. We're going to be talking about what is the false self? What's the ego? Because I realized I'm talking about this so much and I've never actually explained it. We're also going to talk about karmic patterns and what might be the difficulty that you are using to make the law of attraction bring you bad things to your life. Right. And I'm introducing group classes for non-Patreon members. For those of you who are not ready to sign up for Patreon, I'm introducing 4-week classes. They're small groups where we're going to be talking about identifying your own karmic patterns, identifying the ways that you are using the law of attraction to bring negativity into your life. And I'm going to be working with you on a daily basis. We'll have 1-week meetings with everybody else. And then you can also choose to level up to a VIP member where you'll get one-to-one meetings with me a couple times during those weeks. If you're interested in that, I want you just to put a comment here, or you can DM me over on Instagram. Big thank you out to Soulful Taz, and I'm thinking she means Soulful Toes, but I'm not sure. She's letting me use her. You got to go over her channel. Her channel's amazing, Soulful Taz on YouTube. She's letting me use some of her content to explain the differences between dark night and depression on a video that'll be out in a few days. This week I have live readings going on Instagram, contest winners that are coming. Okay, you're interested? Great. Let me just write your name down. Small group classes, great. Anybody else who's interested, just tell me in the comments or DM me over on Instagram. All right, so let's go back here. All right. So let's start with the big question that came to me this week was, everybody thinks the law of attraction brings you what you want. And that is such a misconception. And I really do think I think society just has a way of going to the more simplified versions of thinking of things because it's just easier, right? To think about things more simply. And we do that with everything, not just spirituality. The law of attraction does not bring what you want. The law of attraction brings you what you are. So if you're sitting and you're thinking like, I hate that I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, the law of attraction is going to bring you more situations and people that bring you those specific things. Like right now I'm looking at my unmade bed and it's bothering me because it's messy, but I'm not going to sit around and call myself messy and I'm sloppy, only because if I do that, the law of attraction is going to bring me more situations where I challenge myself with that. So when you think about yourself, you need to think of yourself in purely positive terms. We all have flaws. We're not perfect. But there's no reason to excuse away those flaws or beat yourself over having those flaws, because those flaws make you who that you are. And those flaws are also supposed to be helping you with your lessons in life. So when you think in a positive way, like I had a client this week who was talking about not being able to cook a lot for themselves because they work a full-time job. I mean, come on, we can all relate with that, right? Excuse me. So she, every time she would order out, she's like, she would beat herself up like, oh, it's such bad food. I shouldn't be eating this. But in doing that, it would bring more stress. Using the law of attraction, it brings more stress to you. It brings more difficulty to you. So I switched it up and I said, okay, so you ordered out, great. We all do that. What you need to think of, instead of punishing yourself, instead of beating yourself up, is that you need to think of it like, wow, I can't wait to go and find those great veggies and get the recipes. I just literally can't wait. I'm so excited. So you see how the difference is, rather than going, I can't believe I did that, to I'm so excited to move on to do something different. That is the way you change the law of attraction to work for you. Because if you are depressed and sad and negative towards yourself and resentful towards everybody and everything in your life, the law of attraction matches it. And so really, you can't sit around and getting frustrated with spirituality and the law of attraction when you yourself are not making those changes within you. If you understand that, give me a chat box, or let me know if you understand that, or if it's still a little unclear, or if you have a specific situation using the law of attraction that you're struggling with. Let me know, because I can answer that for you. I can help you flip your thinking. And that is what I do with my clients every week, is that I help them flip their thinking in order to make their life more positive. And the higher you move your vibration, the higher your vibration will go out and bring the good things into you. Whew, okay, let's see. If you're new here and you just popped on, make sure you hit the like button. So you tell YouTube you like this. You can put your date of birth and a question in the chat box and ask for a reading. You can also please hit the bell, because I go live a few times a week. I don't have a regular schedule during the week. So make sure you subscribe. All my links are below in order to contact me. I'm also on Instagram, so you can get me over there. All right, so the next thing, along with the law of attraction, is I talk a lot about this false self and ego. And I was thinking, I should talk to somebody. I should probably explain to you what the false self ego is. It's the same thing. So any says ego or false self, it's the same thing. So what you need to think about is the ego is not that, I always think about that, like the guy in college with a lot of swagger who's like, I'm the man. Like, that always makes me think ego. But that's not exactly ego. That's a form of a shadow self. What your ego is that part of you that's been built up since you were born, the part that's been indoctrinated and programmed into the culture and family that you were born into, the part that tells you this is what you're supposed to do, and the part that is supposed to, align with making everybody else comfortable versus what your intuition is. Okay, Gail, I see your question. I will get to that in 1 second. So, and it's a good question because it adds into what I'm talking about right now with life paths. So what I want everyone to understand is when you're feeling that struggle within you, when you're feeling the, just the, I'm supposed to do this, but I feel like I'm supposed to do this. I think, that is your struggle between your intuition, which is coming directly from source through your guides, to your ego, which is coming from your culture, your family, your teachings, your programming. So when I'm on here talking, I'm really talking about that struggle we all have about what we were taught is right versus what we feel is right. All right. So Gail has just asked, what does life path mean in relation to life lessons? So they're used intermixed. So life lessons and life path are the same thing. So if you'd give me your birth date and I would say, your life path is this number. Gail, I think I remember I did yours once. Am I right that you're a 1, right? Your life path and life lessons are the same thing. So as a 1, she is a very black and white thinker. She's a very good leader. She does need to learn to be a bit more original and innovative in order to show her strengths out. All right. A number 1 loves source energy. They tend to be a little bit stubborn about things. So, and I jokingly say a 1 is always like the person who's running towards the volcano and you're like, hey, stop. And they're like, no, I got it. And all of a sudden they fall in. So that's a 1. And your life lesson is to include other people into your life. And that's really what your life path is to remember that you shouldn't be going around thinking, I can do this, I got this, I got this, I got this. Remember, other people are there to help you. So life path and life lessons are the same thing. When we say lessons, we're a little bit more intricately, but the path is really just that long stretch of our life right now that we're supposed to be learning specifically just one line of lessons. All right, Gaggy, you said, I don't understand this. Is it when we order food out, it's not correct energy? No. Trust me, my family orders out more than we cook because we're all super busy. Food is an interesting topic, only because this has really been coming across my desk a lot lately. The topic of what we eat is different than where we get it from and how we eat. So generally what we should be eating is more source energy, is like, universal, and source energy from the sun comes through plants. So we should be eating more plant-based foods. Meat generally isn't a great thing to be eating energetically, vibrationally. However, take that as you wish in your own life. I know it's hard for a lot of people to be vegetarians and vegans. I'm not promoting that. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying the other side is bad. Just understand, when you eat more plant-based things, your vibration does get higher and your energy gets lighter. So what I was talking about was the fact that, we're all busy. We're all busy. So when we order out, we can just be more choosy about what we order to make it more healthy. Gaggy says she prepares her own meals and cuisines, which you want to eat. And, that's ideal. A lot of people don't have time to do that, especially it's become cultural. And like in the United States and Canada and Europe right now, to just like order out because we've all been home for so long. So we order out a lot. And this particular client is just upset because she beats herself up over, the act of actually ordering things that may not be the healthiest. And I just suggested that she either order healthier things, which in her situation isn't an option just because of where she is. But when she doesn't have the time to, or energy, because we're all tired after work, if she doesn't have the time or the energy to actually cook, she has to eat. So she ends up ordering out. And way to flip that thinking is that you can't beat yourself up over choices that you made that were specifically to keep you healthy. Like, eating's healthy. If you didn't eat, what would happen? You'd starve, you'd be miserable, you'd die, right? So what you need to do is understand that if, like, this was you, ordering out itself isn't bad. Any food that you eat isn't bad. It's the emotion you have attached to it. So if you're feeling guilty or you're feeling like other people are judging you, that is negative emotion. And I was telling her that I had this problem when I was a kid a lot, in that, I've never been like super duper skinny, but, I never really, I look back at my pictures now as a kid and I'm like, I really was not that overweight. But my family took to calling me things like little fatty, and like even my mom called me thunder thighs and joke. So, I grew up with this whole impression that I needed to be thinner than I was, when in reality, I look at pictures of me now. Back then, I'm like, wow, I was actually pretty normal. Like, I looked okay. I looked healthy. So those are what other people are putting their stuff on us. And we need to take a really deep look at when we're feeling guilty and anxiety filled. Are we feeling our own feelings? Are we feeling what other people are projecting onto us? So, I learned a new term this week was called skinny shamed. I didn't even know there was such a thing, to being shamed for being too skinny. And incidentally, like when I was talking to that person, the person was shamed when they were little, for being too skinny, which is super weird, right? And that person grew up and ended up, becoming overweight because of that subconscious thought that something's wrong with me because I'm too skinny. So we really do. This still goes back to the false self and the ego, what we're taught, what we're programmed by the people who raise us versus what our intuition is telling us. And it really is a struggle everybody has. Everybody has this. Yeah, I'm sorry, Gag. I have no idea. I don't know. If I put in a cable cord into my computer, so now I'm hardwired, was what he said, hardwired in, so I shouldn't drop anything, but I don't know. I'm going to have him look at my computer when we're done here. Super duper sorry. A number 9 is interesting. I love dogs, and that would make absolutely sense with what I know about a little bit about your background, is that a number 9 learns all of their lessons through endings, through any ending. And it's not just familiar relationship ending. It literally is any ending, like, I don't know, the end of a day, the end of a week. You learn your lessons through endings. You're also very, very you're the highest spirituality number of the group. And in that highest spirituality number, you tend to want other people to be understanding of you, understanding of your beliefs, understanding of what you know is true about the world and spirituality. And you tend to listen more than you talk. The problem with a 9 is that when they do so much to try to get other people to understand things, just in life itself, in spirituality, in life itself, that you 9s in general tend to try to change people, try to help people, try to other people to understand you, when really they don't do the same for you. So you know, again, setting yourself up for failure in relationships that aren't really going to work out. But again, you're aiming for that end, so you can learn the most about yourself at that end. It's an interesting number because the number is definitely about, I mean, such a strong base of compassion and passion. Like, nines generally love being married. They love having relationships if they're healthy and fruitful. And when they're not healthy and fruitful, they, you know, uh, the nine is just like, but you need to understand, but you need to understand. And sometimes the other person doesn't understand. And the doesn't give up until it's over, like over. Like, you ever see a steak get cooked so hard that like it's like a hockey puck? That's relationships to a nine, because you just keep trying, because you again are afraid of the ending, but the ending is inevitably going to come. So it's a paradox in that way for a nine. Yeah, you do need to eat clean and be healthy, Gaggy. The problem is a lot of people are just so busy. Life has just taken on such a form of speed. Like, look at this last year. I mean, everybody was told to stay home, right? And to like help everybody else. But people had problems sitting on the couch just watching TV for a few weeks. So everything's just like fast. So the fastest they can get done, especially in the States, it's like, I have so much to do. Let me just go pick something up. I don't really care where it comes from as long as it feeds me. But yeah, that is the goal, to eat clean and healthy. The other thing I've noticed living here, especially in the islands and other developing countries, is that healthy food, super expensive. So yeah, it's easier to feed your family like the junk food and the bulk snacks and all, because they're less expensive and the cost of living isn't as high in developing countries, so they can't afford the more healthy food, right? It's an interesting issue that we all have, but we can't aim to be perfect about what we're eating and what we're putting in our body. We can just aim to do better, and that's all we can ask, right? Okay, so any other questions? Let me just quick look. Bob, am I buffering still, or am I okay? Sorry, everybody, chatting. Yeah. Okay. I really. Yeah, and the thing is, I love dogs. I can't wait to talk to you, because the thing is, until you release your karma with all of this cycle of needing, the hockey puck steak, you'll keep running into okay, great, thanks. You'll keep running into those relationships that are really difficult to deal with if, you don't learn how to release that kind of karma thing. Okay. So that leads me to my next. I'm going to explain what I get so many questions about what karma is and what a pattern is. And the thing is, as I was going down the list of the 12 universal laws, I was thinking, wow, like, people really have taken all 12 of these and like mushed them together and put the word karma on top of all of it. And that's not really how it works. So when we karma, yeah, I mean, what you put out, you get back. If you do something bad happens to you, but that's not actually what the law is called. What you need to remember is that karmic patterns, they're developed in our past lives, and it could be like 20 past lives from ago, and you're still carrying this pattern because it's so deep and difficult. My friend Holly had a pattern that I think she's pretty much let go of at this point, but a pattern where she had guilt over being this commander in the Roman army and watching a little boy who she loved get killed, and in that she carried that guilt through every single life that she's had since, and she's always positioned herself in relationships where she was the one who was being like abused or harmed, because she was trying to compensate for that guilt that she had for what happened to that little boy. And that's exactly how a karma is created. Is something happened in your past life, and you carry it with emotionally to each next one until you balance that out. So I look at karmic patterns like, I say this a million times, we're all houses. We all have strong bones. If you strip away all the ugly stuff, you're living in a house that looks like it's from like 1972. We don't want to live in a house that's decorated like that, right? Or has any of those features, because they're ugly and outdated at this point, right? So like I'm thinking of my grandma's kitchen. My grandma moved into this house in 1957, and it was a new house, and she was so excited to move into this new house. And my grandfather, who'd worked really hard to this house, was very happy to have provided it for her. And so she wanted a pink kitchen, which was the big deal back then. So every single year since 1957, he'd take those cabinets and put a new fresh paint of pink paint on the cabinets. And so she had a pink kitchen for, close to 50 years. So when they both passed away and the house got sold, what was the first thing they did? Rip out those cabinets, right? So that's kind of what a karmic pattern is that it's like this layer of paint that goes over your house or it's in your kitchen. And it is, it's peeling. So if you think about chipping off, you take a scraper and you chip off, it comes off in flakes. It doesn't just peel off like, like the glue when the kids put it on their hands and the glue peels. That's not what a karmic pattern does. A karmic pattern does not lift up. A karmic pattern, you have to lift chip by chip by chip. And the way you do that is you recognize every single time that pattern shows up in your life, which usually is quite a lot. For example, the client I was just talking about and the person I was talking about earlier with these food and weight issues, it'll that guilt and that shame of not being the perfect presentation of that kind of child their parent wants shows up in different ways in their life. So they would need Holly. Yep, and you release. Good girl. So you'd be reminded of that guilt and shame in so many different ways in your life that it's not even just it takes out from like weight and food. It goes into other ways of how am I not good enough? How am I not good enough? And that leads the person to keep thinking that they're not good enough, and they attract people who also tell them they're not good enough. And it's interesting how this karma works in relation to our life lessons, because the karma is over the house. The life lesson is actually like inside the house. And then you have the ego who's like locking your intuition and the life lesson like in the basement in a cage. And it's like taking over the house. So in effort to clear your life and live your highest and best life, you need to get the ego and the false self like out of there. And then you can start the work. And that's the hard part. That's really the hard part, is trying to realize what your ego and your false self is telling you and how it's telling you to behave versus, what your intuition is saying. Yeah, Nanny's Pick Kitchen was awesome. Seriously, I wish I would have gotten a cabinet door. Like when they, I didn't even know. It's a whole other story. I didn't know like she sold it. I didn't know my mom sold it. I didn't know my grandma was in a home. It's a horribly messy story. That my grandma like disappeared, and I didn't know where she was because my mom didn't tell me. And Bob actually called every single nursing home in the area to figure out where she was. You all with your like background bad childhood stories, I can relate because my parents were definitely not parents of the year ever. Oh, that reminds me. I took a lot of those videos off of YouTube the other day because I found I never pay attention to my analytics. I just don't. I found that there were people taking my videos, like especially the ones that I was talking about my background stories, and like putting them on chat on their own playlists, calling like people like calling me a bitch and calling me like Karen's basically, and like, oh, isn't she so like blah blah blah. And I thought, you know what, I don't need them to like, I didn't put this out here for people to make fun of. I put it out to help people. So I've taken them down for a moment. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I've privated them all because I don't care if people know my stories. I care a little bit when people are insensitive to other people, and I'm still working that out right now. So, and it's not that I'm embarrassed about anything. It's the fact that I don't like that people take other people's pain and discomfort and like uses it as fodder. I just don't understand that at all. I think the eating disorder thing is people think an eating disorder, and here I swear to God, I swear my hand to God, this happened this week. So I was writing in my and my mom's a really big Karen Carpenter fan, like huge. So much so that I listen to the songs a lot because I like Karen Carpenter too. And if you're too young, you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google the Carpenters and you're going to be like, whoa, most talented person I think ever. Like she's up there with like Michael Jackson and like most talented musicians. So when I was talking to this person about this eating issue, I kept hearing like Karen Carpenter in my head. And then all of a sudden, like she showed up in my mind's eye and started talking to me about my client. And I went, whoa. So like Karen Carpenter is actually one of the master guides for this person. And I gave a message to my client from Karen Carpenter. And if you don't know, she died from anorexia nervosa. And when I explained this, there's a lot of people who don't think they have eating disorders. Like there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I don't starve myself, or, like I don't have like binging and purging. But when you have that mentality of, and trust me, I've had it myself, definitely have had it myself. When you have that mentality of guilt while or after you're eating, or you're constantly focused on food, you're constantly focused on food. You're focused on what other people look like. You're focused on what people think you look like. That's called an eating disorder mentality. So you may not have the full blown eating disorder, but you definitely are tiptoeing towards it. And it's one of these things that we're kind of ashamed to admit. And honestly, I'm the heaviest I've ever been in my entire life right now. And at first I was a little uncomfortable with it. And right now, like, I don't care. Like, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm overweight, whatever. And I figure, it's one of these things that's going to work itself out. I am going to start eating healthier. My pool, again, don't judge me. My pool is really cold right now, so I can't get into exercise. We're going to remedy that, right, Bob? So, but I also know I'm never going to be like a size 4 again. I know that. Like, it's not possible. I've had 3 kids. I just turned 40. Like, it's not going to happen. So I would just like to get back down like a comfortable weight, but it's not like I was telling, I don't know. Anybody ever read Jen Lancaster's books? My God, she's funny. Bitter is the New Black and Such a Pretty Fat are my 2 faves. And I relate to her very well because, like, she says she suffers from high self-esteem, and I do too. Because, like, I do. Like, she could be overweight as I am, and I look in the mirror and I'm like, damn, girl, you look good. Like, I don't like really see myself as being like unattractive. My husband always tells me all the time. He's like, honey, you're beautiful. I'm like, I know. Doesn't mean I'm skinny. 2 different things. So this whole eating thing, you have to be really careful that you're not getting into this like mentality of eating disorders, because it doesn't have to be that you starve yourself that you have an eating disorder. You can just like have that panic and that guilt over it, and you're developing an eating disorder, or you're living with an eating disorder. It's just not shown itself like it would, like in Karen Carpenter kind of situations. Thanks, Gaggy. And eating, you have to remember that eating disorders are not just for women, they're for men too. I remember in high school when there were guys on my wrestling team who would like literally starve themselves for weeks to get down weight classes and then eat more right after the meet. And I was like, hello, like, that's the definition of an eating disorder. Anyway, I'm totally off track. I'm sorry. I can like talk forever with people. This is why I should call this channel Spiritual Tea, by the way. Okay, so yeah. Oh, right. I have my live Instagram reading for a contest winner on Tuesday. Yeah, and I already told you about Holly and Lily and Torrance. We're all going to talk about movies, about spirituality and spiritual tea. And oh, thanks, Gaggy. You know what, Gaggy? I go back and forth between like, I'm okay with how I look. And then, my client was saying too that like she just can't find the clothes that like she wants to wear. And it's so true. Like, they don't make clothes that are like cute and like fashionable for people over like a certain size. And I don't get that. I don't get that at all. Because yeah, I have one company I buy from only because like they're comfortable and they're, cute. But everything else looks like a freaking moo-moo, doesn't it? Like, I'm just over it. So I've just decided not to stress about this at all anymore. Bob likes to bring me cheesecake. I love cheesecake. And that's okay. The larger lesson here is when my daughter was, she was a figure skater. And in that world, it's really hard to not judge other people for their sizes. But I really held myself back from like judging her at all and saying anything to all, because the girl can take down a cheeseburger like nobody I've ever seen. And she's like a twig. So I've just decided she knows how to eat healthy. I've taught her how to eat healthy. She knows how to exercise. It's on her now, right? Yeah, karma. Thanks, Gaggy. So karma is all about like what we attract into our life based on our past lives. And it's not good stuff. It's never like, yeah, it could be good, actually. They reminded me. Holly's mom's a really good example of how you live a life of good karma. It's called a resting life, where there's not much stress. You're just kind of here to experience things, and there's not much turmoil going on. And that is a life. When you see somebody like, how do they have such a great, like, peaceful life? It's because they've chosen to have a peaceful life, to either come down off of a stressful one or go into a stressful one. Anybody know what the Akashic Records is? I'm interested. I can go into talking about this too. The Akashic Records. Let me know if you know what that is. Also, because I've talked about that a lot with my other clients as well, Akashic Records. And if you don't know what it is, let me explain it. And if you do, I can go in a little deeper. My next live event with my Patreon members, those of you that are on this live, is going to be in a few weeks. And for those of you who don't know, it's an opportunity to kind of hang out with me and just chat, ask me questions. It's not really a formal, like, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this. It's just a time to, like, kind of hang out with me. And I only offer it to my Patreon members. You can join Patreon at any level and be invited to the live event with me. So if you are interested in that, you can either go to my link in the description for the Patreon members, or it's patreon.com/thekey, THECAY, and join at any level, and you'll get an invitation to my next virtual event with me. Hey, Lisa, nice to see you. Lisa, you were just on my mind. Did you just get on here, Lisa? Because you were literally, that's what came into my mind with the Akashic Records. Little insight. Okay. So first, let me go to Akashic Records. So for those of you who don't know, Akashic Records, they are actually not called Akashic Records on the other side. They're just called the Book of Life, and it literally is just a book that sits on, like, this, I don't know, you can look at it from any way, but the way I imagine it, it's in the hall, and generally it's on this podium, and it's like the room of requirement in Harry Potter, where you open it up and you see what you need to see. It could be your life, it could be anybody else's life. The interesting thing about the Book of Life or the Akashic Records is you may not be looking at your own past lives. You may be looking at somebody else's past life, but does it really matter? Because you're looking for something that you need to learn right now. The thing about Akashic Records that my guides are telling me to talk about right now is that we are not meant to see what is not useful to us. So a lot of people try to go into meditations to see what's going on with their life and where it's going and what they need to do. But if we're not ready to see that yet, they're not going to show it to us. So we need to really be at that, like Gaggy's saying, we really need to be at that spot where we understand what karmic patterns are, your life path is, you're letting go of your ego, your false self. And that's when the information will come forward and say, this is what you need to know now. And those realizations come on. Lisa's a great example of this. Those realizations come in and you think, oh, that's what that meant. How did I not know that before? It's because you weren't meant to know it before. You weren't ready to know it before. So if you don't understand something that's going on in your life right now, there's a reason. It's because you're not ready to understand it until you're ready to strip that part of you away. So you think of a good example here. I'll just use myself here. So again, a couple of my kids have autism, and, I've had rounds and rounds and rounds with schools. And I always used to go into this going, why are schools, and why are they, it's based on money. Like, why is this so hard to have, like, kids with special needs and have the people who are supposed to be helping you kind of blocking you from what the kids need? And it was really, really, like, a really struggle for me about how to get the kids the education they needed. And, then when I was going through this whole spiritual awakening process, I realized that I was attracting all of the negativity and all of these people who would bring me the struggle through my thoughts, through my false self, through my vibration. So the more negative I was about this situation, the more negative people were who were coming to me. And I did not make that realization until I started to go down this path of awakening and actually start looking at myself and going, okay, so what am I doing and how is that similar to what's coming to me? And the fact is, it was like lock and step. I'd be negative, I'd make an action, and all of a sudden I'd attract something else that was negative in the same way that I was negative. And then I'd go, oh, how could you do that? Well, I just did it. So, like, of course they're bringing me that stuff. When you're really looking at yourself in a critical but productive manner is when you are ready to see how to make the changes and what changes you need to make. It is not until that point that the universe will let you see everything that you need to know in order to improve your life. A lot of people hold themselves back from actually, I don't want to use the word blame. A lot of people hold themselves back for looking at themselves as the cause for things, because we don't want to know that we're the cause, right? We want to know that other people are to blame and it's not our fault. Let's see. All right, so how to clear your karmic path. Okay, again, so this is why I think it's important. I say this every time I'm on live, is that it's important to know what your patterns are. And it's hard to do that by yourself. You do need somebody like myself, or a psychic who understands what they're looking for. Holly actually kind of flippantly said to me a couple weeks ago, she was like, Stacie, anybody can, like read people as a psychic. Anybody can like bring through, their loved ones, but it really takes somebody really specific to actually look and help them in their life. And I'm like, you're actually right. Because I was feeling a little down that day. And you do need a little insight from somebody who knows what they're looking for with your karmic patterns. When you get that, so let's just use an example of victimhood. Okay, it's another one I had where I was a perpetual victim. Everything in my life, I was a victim. Everybody was victimizing me. Everything that came to me was bad. Okay, that's a perpetual victim. And when people are in that perpetual victim state, what they do is they tend to take themselves out of the responsibility of it, and they look at everybody else as the blame. So, and there are situations where you are not the outright blame for things. Don't get me wrong there. But when you live in that state of, I'm putting out, hey, victimize me, victimize me, victimize me, things will happen. And you need to recognize the way you're approaching things. And the example I used the other day for one of my clients was that for a very long time, I used to have this, I don't know, chip on my shoulder, or really like paranoia about, because I didn't have a job for a very long time because of my disease. So I was paranoid that Bob was like controlling me through money. So anytime I'd spend anything, he'd get alerted. But here's the thing, like he handles the books, like he handles all of our finances. So like, why wouldn't he get, and we've had our credit cards stolen more times than I can't even count. So like he gets alerted with every single transaction. So a couple months ago, well, it has to be over a year now. When I was going through this whole thing, I remember waking up and like we all do in the States, what do? We look at Amazon right away, right? So we're flipping through Amazon in my morning, just saying, what else do I need to buy? And I made one purchase. And hey, if you're new here, hey, Donnie Dang, if you're new here, make sure that you like this live stream and make sure you subscribe to my channel. Ring that bell because I do go live several times during the week and it's not planned. So make sure you hit the bell so you're alerted when I go live. So I woke up and I had bought, I don't even remember what I bought. And I hit send, put order in, and all of a sudden Bob messaged me and goes, oh, you're awake. And I thought, oh, you're tracking. And then I went, nope. Is this actually happening? Is this actually happening? And I wrote back, that, yeah, I am awake. But I remember thinking, that was the first time I ever recognized that I was actually looking at something that was victimizing me, like something like it was a situation that I felt victimized, but I was creating. And that's what you have to do to recognize your karmic patterns. It's even in instance, you have to say, wait, is this actually happening or am I creating this? That's how you start to clear your karmic patterns. And it's not just these big events. It's not the big events where you lose your spouse, or you lose somebody through death, or you constantly feel like you can't keep a job. It's not the big events that do it. It's the little tiny things that lead up to those big events. When you clear those little tiny things, that's what clears your karma eventually. And that is what I help with people. And that's why I thought maybe doing the small groups would be more helpful than the one-on-ones, because I know there's people out there who just, either can't afford or don't have time to do the one-on-ones with me. So I thought the small groups might be helpful. Hey, Donnie. Yeah, honestly, Doug, I get, when I look at names, I try to read vibration. So it's not that I'm looking at you as a man or a woman. It was just more of a vibration. I also have dyslexia, so I say she and he, like intermixed, and Bob can tell you that. It's not that I look at vibration. Do I give off currently? Okay. Light and airy, light and airy. Donna, you're in a space right now where it's, and really it's like right now where I'm looking. It's very light and airy, very, and it's a new space for you. It's a very light and airy space where you're just kind of not taking things as seriously right now, not engaging in anything that's stressful. And when I mean right now, I mean like now in today's energy. That's exactly how I'm feeling. You're just trying to explore things on, yeah, you're trying to explore things like up here rather than going down here and going, ugh. You're taking yourself up and going, oh, okay, let me check this out. And that's how I feel, that light and airy feeling about you. Gaggy, Gaggy, you're like a racehorse. Like, it's like, I gotta do it, I gotta do it, I gotta do it, I gotta do it. It's a very, not nervous or anxious, just a strong, powerful motion forward is what I feel for you, Gaggy, right now. Very, very powerful. If you're new here, go ahead and put your, hey, there's the numbers again, Gaggy, huh? Go ahead and put your date of birth in the chat box, your question, and make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, please. So yeah, I mean, karma, how you clear it really, when you see those little things that come along, is you just exactly when you feel something that is looking like, or feeling's actually better. You learn to kind of feel out situations rather than look at them. So when you, I don't know why they're showing me that story right now. I'll get back to that. When you get into a situation or you meet somebody new, rather than looking at them, kind of try to attach your energy to their energy and feel them out in the way that, and trust your intuition. So if you get that yikes, all right, that's your intuition telling you to be aware. But if you're in a situation that you are in negative situation, do not react to it right away. Do the same thing, kind of feel the situation out with your energy. And when I'm doing this, I mean, because your energy is all around, you need to feel the situation through your energy, and you need to say, all right, where am I feeling negatively? And let's say you're feeling suspicious of somebody. You would say, I see it, I feel it, I release it. And that's a note to the universe and the guides that, like, okay, I feel this suspicion, maybe warranted, but I'm feeling this suspicion. I'm releasing the barrier of karma that's between this, and I'm going to choose how I react to this rather than is wanting. Choose means you're going to move forward and wanting to move forward rather than feeling a need to do something. Because we need or should to or have to, those are all your patterns. Okay, good. Yeah, Kaki, that's what I mean. I don't, yeah, you have a light and airy thing about you. Yes, you do. Yeah, so when I feel the energy, I don't assign it to a gender. I assign it to more of like a feeling. And generally, men are more, I don't know how to say this, like standing in one place, like strong and, very, not forward thinking. They think in one line. Like Bob and I are like this all the time. Like he's very logical, like this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. And I'm all like, oh, really? Why? And that's kind of how I feel out energy, because in general terms, that's the difference between a man and a woman. But when we think about, the law of gender, like I try to see through that a little bit. But again, if I got your pronoun mixed up, it's probably because I'm dyslexic and I go she and he all the time. Yeah, Donnie, you do have a right. And when I say right now, I mean right now. That's why I specified right now, because before, I think I answered this question for you before. And right now you're feeling very light and airy and kind of like, okay, let me pull myself up out of this. Let me investigate it. And that is why I specified it, because in general terms, you're very different from that. But I think you're starting to see the difference. You're starting to realize that when you pull yourself up out of things without taking emotion with you, you get further. Let's see. Okay, I love dogs. Yeah, you still have that wound and you're trying to cover that up. It's fine, just the dog thing. You're just trying to lick that wound and not really let people know that it's there. You know what actually I see for you, I love dogs, is like you're like trying to tend to yourself and heal for yourself. And then when anybody comes in is like, are you okay? You're like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm fine. Don't ask. I'm good. So it's kind of like you don't want people to know that. You don't want people to see it. Um, no, seriously, every dog, I love dogs. Every single time you ask a question, it's like a dog reference. It's funny. I mean, and I know you're going to be like, oh, she's dogs, but like literally, like that literally is what is surrounding you. It's like this pack of like, you have little itty bitty ones and you have like big ones. It's just like all kinds of dogs around you. So like, I totally get it. Gaggy, actually had somebody message me last night about, doing the same thing, traveling internationally to speak. And I'm open to anything, really. Anything that, would help, and people are looking to have me come speak to groups, or I can do small group or one-to-one sessions while I'm there. Yeah, I'm open to anything. I just kind of let the universe kind of guide me in that way, that wherever they want to take me, I'll go. And, I figure the universe will provide those opportunities when I'm ready for them, right? Okay, thanks, Aggie. I think, honestly, I'm just open to anything. Speaking and talking to people. But I will keep you posted if I hear anything. I probably mentioned this before, but Bob owns a company over in India, so like he does have direct ties and employees over there. So I'm sure we'll get there at some point. I could, I actually that crossed my mind a couple weeks ago. Time is so like I don't even think anymore. There are people who do that, who like make cruises, and like they are like the nightly speakers of the cruise, but then they go places. I mean, I thought that was interesting. But as of right now, yeah, the traveling thing is kind of a barrier. This is what we have to do. That's why I make myself available so much on Patreon with my members, and anybody who wants to meet with me. I do have anybody schedules one-on-one with me. I do have appointments that are available within the next week that I hold open for members if they need to see me immediately. So when you join, you can get access to me a little bit faster. Hey, Nicole, how are you? Nicole, we had just gone over karma. We talked about a lot this morning, huh? If anybody's new, make sure you hit your the like button above you, and also subscribe to my channel. I do one-on-one services. I help people clear their karma. I help people identify what their karmic patterns are and use the law of attraction to live their highest and best life. Today I'm just, hey, Michael, yesterday was great because I took the whole day off and I just like binge watched TV with my daughter. And like today I just feel very like, because I need to get out of this, where I got to work to make sure everything's like right. So today I'm just feeling a little bit out of, sync. But yeah, otherwise I'm doing really good. Anybody want me to do a reading, or do you have a question about anything spirituality? To the people who are new, I do have a new series coming out with my friend Holly. My daughter Lily is going to be involved, and my friend Torrance. We're going to be calling it Spiritual Tea, where we're going to be reviewing movies and TV and all kinds of topics about spirituality in a very, very just like talky sense, gossipy sense, rather than like keeping it heavy. We're going to just kind of, be light and fun about it. And that will be coming out next week. If you have any recommendations, oh, you're welcome, Gaggy. If you have any recommendations or anything you want me to see, movie-wise, TV-wise, spirituality-wise, let me know, and then I can take it to the group and we'll talk about it. Thanks, Bob. I just say India in general, just, it's like when people refer to the United States, it's like there's actually like a lot of different United States like within that one country. So when I flippantly say India, I mean like, yeah, that's where he is. But I have another question coming in, hold on, from someone else. Let me look at this other area. Okay. All right, so they had somebody close die to them this year, and they're having dreams that, yeah, generally when you have dreams about somebody who has passed away, those people, and especially if they're really vivid, those people are visiting you through dreams because they're a lot easier The other side is it's vibration. When we say the other side, there's not just one other side. There's different dimensions, but we are like a very heavy dimension. So everybody above us has a really hard time coming into this dimension, and that's why we when you see spirits, like they're translucent, or you don't see all of them because it takes a lot of energy for them to come through. Yeah, there was one experience I had that let me get back to this question in 1 second, but it's reminding me of this one experience I have where I woke up in the middle of the night and I straight up was like, why is Long John Silver's in my bedroom? And usually when I see ghosts, like I don't see their feet, or I only see their feet because they manifest in a certain way, but their feet are always up off the ground. So when I woke up this one particular night, like there was a guy who was like heavy in rain boots standing in the middle of my bedroom pointing to a specific picture, but he was in one of those yellow like rain slickers with the hat, and I really just remembered the guy from like Long John Silver's on the on the logo, and I'm like, why is Long John Silver's in my bedroom? And I still wondering that, honestly, because he didn't say anything. He just pointed at this picture and looked over at me and then disappeared. But generally, they don't do that. Generally, they come in through our dreams. And if you remember them vividly, then that is somebody visiting you. Okay, and they're reminding me, but they're not going to visit you when you stay in that grief bubble because they can't get through it. Oh, you're welcome for putting the live on. Michael, nice to hear that. I'm very glad that you're becoming more happy and positive. And that's the thing, is the goal is not to become perfectly perfectly positive and happy all the time, because nobody can do that, you know. And that's one of the universal laws that I should start talking about, because we can't expect that we are going to be constantly in one state of happiness. We're not going to, it's like seasons changing. It's like everything changes a little bit, but it's up to us to stay as positive as possible. So let's take the 4 seasons. Like where I used to live in Pennsylvania, we had 4 solid seasons. And although I loved like fall and spring the best, what's between the two? Summer and fall and winter. So you have to find the positivity in all of it, even though life is constantly changing. And that's what the law of rhythm is about. So I'm happy to hear you're positive, and I try to be every day too, but things happen, right? And in those things that happen, in those things that aren't necessarily pleasant, we need to stay as positive as possible, because that's the only way you're going to get through them and they're going to go away, is when you stay as positive as possible, not like delusionally happy. Because trust me, I'm not like this all the time. I'm really not. You really do have to work at training yourself to be more positive. Let's see. We're talking about dreams. I dreamt of a black rabbit chasing me, and the other one was dreaming of a lion attacking my enemies. Okay. So what my guides are saying about that dream of being chased is that any dream that you're being chased in has to do with having the fear of being found out, having the fear of something about yourself that you don't like. People are going to find out, and that's why you're running. I used to have a dream when I was really little about this bear that would chase me all the time. I don't know why. And I don't know why I still remember that. But when you somebody's chasing you, or something is chasing you, it really has to do with you trying to protect yourself from being exposed. And the black rabbit, they're telling me this originated in childhood. It was something good that started in childhood, and then it kind of like twisted into like a bad situation for you, and you very much like stuffed it down, and it's starting to like come back up. So when you start having those memories of anything that's unpleasant from childhood, just let them flow through your head, let it come through, just kind of wave and be like, hey, and then let it go. Don't sit in it. Because you need to have those come up and move through in order for you to release them and move on. And that's what this black rabbit is trying to tell you. A lion attacking your enemies is... Again, you're fearful of stuff coming at you. They're giving me the image, Michael, that everywhere you go, it's like, are they going to get me? Are they going to get me? Are they going to get me? And you have this very like they want me to use warrior stance about life, where you need to come into life and protect yourself at all costs, and especially they're underlining at all costs. And it doesn't have to be like that. In that, hold on, they're telling me to put the cards down, so give me a second. It doesn't have to be like that, in that it's only in that because you're choosing that way to be. So these dreams are definitely showing you these are things to pay attention to. So you can't fear anybody finding out the real you, and you also cannot fear anybody, like, yeah, again, exposing you. They're using the word expose. Let me see what this card say. There's some, yeah, they're saying there's some theft or trickery going on. However, this is pointing more towards you, that you're taking shortcuts to get around things. Are you taking shortcuts to get around things in your life in order to feel more comfortable? And when I say feel more comfortable, I mean make other people more comfortable, because generally that's why we do things, so other people don't bug us, right? They're showing me that that's a major issue right now for you. Yeah, good. And the last card is embrace yourself and be happy, in that you are who you are. And really what you all need to know is your soul doesn't change life to life. Like your personality doesn't change, which made me really happy, because I'm like this, like soul level, like this, like awesome. You all are. So what you're generally trying to do in life is trying to change yourself to make other people more comfortable so they don't bother you, right? That's exactly what we do. I mean, think about, did we lie to our parents? Did we like tell them what they wanted to hear to make them more comfortable? Yeah, most of us did. Okay, Gaggy. Hey, if you're new here, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. And also make sure you hit me over on Instagram. I'm the Key to Soul Awakening. It's quickest to get me there. If you're not booking a session, you can DM me, and when I have time, I can write back. So that was a release dream, Gaggy. The dream you had, it was a release dream. So you were like living through your dreams of what you wanted to happen, so you could kind of get through it, because it wasn't going to happen. Yeah, and at the soul level, like you put that in place at the soul level, is what they're saying. Like you knew you needed to do that in order to move on from the situation. We all do that. So like whenever you have dreams about somebody that you're like, oh, why can't that be in real life? It's because you had that as a release, in order to move on, because it's never going to happen. Yeah, Michael, when you listen to the playback of this, I want you to listen, if you listen to the playback of this, I want you to listen to what I said again, because that's a big issue for you right now, is that you're not letting who you are through. And that is the only way down your most positive path, is if you accept and love. Now, remember, there's a difference between acceptance and love. You can accept yourself, but you can also hate yourself. You need to accept and unconditionally love yourself in order to move on to your highest and best life. It's kind of where I was with my discussion about weight. It's like, I don't really care. Like I do care. Like I want to live a nice, long, healthy life, but I also really don't care. Like if people find me attractive or not, like whatever the suit looks like, it looks like, you know? See if I missed anything else. Let's see. Oh, good question. I have a question over here. What's the difference between soul groups and soul families? So if you've heard the term soul groups, let me know. If you have other questions about this, let me know. I think I can go for another 15 minutes without my throat actually like drying out, but we'll see where we go. If we get more questions, I'll stay on. I have water. We're good. So I think I said last week about, excuse me, one second. How we're all coming from source energy, and source energy is God. So if you're listening to this and you have a very religious background, I'm not saying that what you believe isn't true. I'm actually saying the exact opposite. So source energy is just what we in the spirituality world call God. So we all have different words for it, source energy and God. We all come from that source energy. We all come from God. And soul groups are made out of that soul energy, that source energy. So soul groups all have different, you think of it like different countries. So you think about different countries, how different countries have different like cultures and goals and that sort of thing. Each soul group has a different goal to learn. So, and really there's like thousands of soul groups. Okay. Your soul family comes from within that soul group, but there's many different families within that soul group. If you were born into a family that you really feel like you do not belong in, like, hello, right here, me, it's because you chose to incarnate into a family that is from a different soul group. All right, not a different soul family. You chose to incarnate into that was from a totally different group than you are. So they have different values, they have different lessons. I call myself the white sheep of the family because, like, I just totally don't get along with them, and I'm not a bad person, and like, and I know many of you are out there like this. Where date of birth, Sabrina's date of birth. Nice to see you, Sabrina. So if you feel like you don't belong in a group, specifically your family or a group of friends that you're kind of stuck around, it's because they're from a different soul group, and everybody has different lessons to learn within their soul group. Your soul family is the one that's a more close knit, and that does not mean your biological family. Your soul family is generally the people when you are within 30 to 40 years old and on, you become closest to. It doesn't have to be your family, and it usually isn't. Your soul family will be those people that are in your life like for long term, and you don't talk to them forever, and then you'll meet them again and you'll be like, I feel like I just talked to you. Those people are definitely your soul families. Sure, Sabrina. So when you get to people have asked me before, like, what do I do when, how do I know if somebody's in my soul family? That's it. Like, like Holly and I met a couple times. Over our life. And it wasn't until I think the third time we met that we just been like inseparable since. But it's that connection that Holly and I have that, like, she's totally opposite of me. If you would ever see us, and she's already told me, PS, by the way, whenever I travel, she's coming. So make sure it's 2 of us, probably 3 with Bob. But Holly's already told me she's in my backpack. All right, Sabrina, let me get your reading. Do you have a specific question, Sabrina? I can already tell you're a fun person to be around, Sabrina. All right. So Sabrina, we have different life paths, and we have different life lessons. We also have a way of approaching our life, which is our attitude number, which is I like to call the attitude number. So yes, Holly and I always say if we're like the same person, so like if we would meld into one person, we'd be like amazingly perfect, because like she has all the things that I need in myself and I have all the stuff that she should be. So like if we were one person, we'd be like this totally awesome perfect person. But anyway, I love a little bit. Okay, great. So if you're all new here, by the way, make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell, because I go live a couple times a week. I just don't have a schedule for during the week. All right. So first, Sabrina, what I want to tell you is that you have a life path, a life lesson number of a 7, which means your goal in this life is to develop your mind. Your goal is to develop your spiritual sense through both spirituality and logic. So you have a lot of wisdom when you talk. Like, people listen because you have this wisdom that comes out of you. Your career path should be something having to do with investigation, numbers, science, something where you're investigating life. They're saying life in general. And it doesn't have to be like a mathematician or a forensic scientist. It could be anything that's the investigative quality that you would be very good with. And you are. A 7 also loves solitude because you get in touch with yourself. So I'm also like, I approach life as a 7, so I'm in touch with this a little bit, where like I don't need a whole lot of people around me in order to be like, yeah, life's great. I don't need a lot of people around me. There are other people who definitely need to be like, and Holly and I were just talking about this, about the kids going back to school and how she's worried about a few of hers like having like a mental health issue, and and I had to really get into that a little bit, just because I'm good with being alone, but there are people who do need those people around. Okay, but you are not one of them. You were very good by yourself. You can take it or leave it. You also have a bit of a conflict, Sabrina, in that you are very deep in wisdom, but in that depth of knowledge of spirituality, you have this logic that's like, but prove it. And so you have a little bit of a conflict there. You approach life as probably one of the most fun numbers on the entire line. It's a 5, and a 5 never sits still. A 5 has to travel, has to go places, has to constantly be changing, which is an interesting mix from somebody who is definitely into investigation and looking at life, because that's usually very like a focus thing. But you approach it like, okay, I'm going to do this, 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 and it'll be great. It feels very fun to me. You're like a very fun person. All right, love. Let's get down to that. You have a very, 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 very deep, passionate way about you. And in some regard, you kind of, I'm not saying push, you're not pushing. When people don't vibe with that deep, passionate about life, which is your 5, which is what 5s are, they kind of go, whoa, okay, this is too much for me. I got to go. But that's who you are. So you can't blame yourself or them. You just, dating's interesting because you just kind of like, it's like a buffet. You try this, you try this, you try this until you find something that you like. All right, I'll put the cards down in 1 second, Sabrina, okay? Sabrina, let me know if any of this you can validate, or if I'm a little off on it, that's okay too, because that helps me kind of like fine tune what I'm seeing. I get this sense, Sabrina, like I keep seeing an apartment door specifically, which is interesting, like shutting, and you're standing there going, again? You thought you were going to be in a very, very loving, committed relationship at this point. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay. Okay, good. Sabrina, the reason you found me today was because of what I'm seeing right now. And I'm going to get back into this in a second as soon as I pull out this last cards. You were probably the reason I stayed on longer, Sabrina, so welcome. This extra time is definitely meant directed to you, and the guides are saying thank you for listening to your intuition for whatever got you here. So in the past, you've definitely had a sense of conflict and failure in that you tried really, really hard in your love life, specifically, and they're saying specifically with this one person, and you feel very much of a failure. You're blaming yourself completely. Maybe not on the conscious level, but internally you are blaming yourself completely for whatever took place. And they're saying you shouldn't be doing that, because it was meant to teach you a lesson. It was meant to get you back on the right road. They're saying get you back on the right road, because I'll be right with you. Welcome. You were going down a path that you even knew you felt that was not feeling comfortable, but you were going with it because of the good feelings it gave you on the surface gloss level, which many of us do, by the way. We definitely do that. If it feels good, we're doing it, but it needs to feel good internally. So, and that's again, when I talked about at the beginning of this live stream, the difference between our false self, our ego, and our intuition, because our false self is definitely like, yeah, do it. Good, dude. Let's do it. But that's not at all what we should be following. So the central message of this is that you want that feeling back. You want that kind of a relationship back, but what you're missing, the point of, is the spiritual nature of it. You're missing yourself. You're missing, I feel like you're turning yourself off. Like in order to get these people to stick around. Like, you're turning yourself off. Like, no, I can't say that. I can't feel it. I can't think that, because that would not be good for this situation. So it's like you just literally flip the switch off. And that's right now. It's like you're kind of off right now. You're off. And what is coming, and they're saying in the next 3 to 4 weeks, is that you are going to have a massive change within yourself that is welcome, but might have uncomfortable feelings within you when it happens, but it needs to happen. And this card comes up a lot for people who come to me. It's called the Tower card, and it looks like Rapunzel's tower, where, you know how Rapunzel was at the top down. This tower looks exactly like that, and it's burning down, because you're going to get a massive change about this situation. And I don't see it being complete you, because I think that's something you like to say a lot, finding you. It's more about finding you to complete you before you can move on. There are a lot of dark thoughts going on related to this issue. Like, why me? Why me? Why? What else can I do? What else can I do? Nothing. They're saying nothing. There's nothing else for you to do. There's nothing else for you to do. You need to be you. You need to be so wholly and completely you that you so wholly and completely you that it's a way of being you that you've never been before, because you've always traded what you're comfortable with in order to have other people in your life. And that is a way of validating yourself. If other people stick around in your life, you're going, okay, I'm a good person. I'm a good person if they stick around. But that's not true. You're a good person regardless, and it does not matter with other people's actions. So the cornerstone of this reading is talking about that you need to stop trying anything in order to get people to be around you, to love you, to take care of you. Stop trying everything and just level up in your consciousness and your spirituality, which you are naturally prone to. You have a natural depth of spirituality about you. So you need to tap into that. And when you tap into that is when you will attract those people who will genuinely love you. Because right now you're attracting people that they're like, and they may care about you, but it's not like long term. So the major message here is like, let whatever is going to happen to you to like change you happen. And let it happen in a way that you're not judging or blaming or making yourself feel guilty. Just let it happen, move through it, and move on. I hope that answered your question, Sabrina. If you would like to talk more about with me, my links are down in the description. I think I also pinned it at the top of the chat. All right. You will call me tomorrow. 1 second. Okay, you're a double one. Okay, so you're a double one. Girl, call me tomorrow. She ignored me since we are strangers. You're welcome, Sabrina. I hope you subscribe, Sabrina. I'd like you to stick around, okay? You have a very nice energy about you. I love the whole, I'm going to do this. I'm fun. I love it. So hopefully you stick around, okay? Okay. I'm going to call you Sai, because I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. If I'm not pronouncing that right, let me know. But I'm on your question about Virgo. The guides are telling me you're pushing this way too hard. You're pursuing this way too hard. I will put the cards down in 1 second. The reason I looked at your life path, because the reason you're pushing this so hard is because you're a 1 life path and you're also a 1 attitude, which means you approach your life path, your life lessons with the exact same qualities as your life path, which is double. It's oh gosh, let me explain this. It's kind of like putting ketchup on your ketchup or putting like hot sauce on your hot sauce. Like you have that double whammy of the same exact attributes. So it kind of makes you feel like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing because this is exactly how I feel. There is no other feelings I have about this. And a one is very, very, very black and white. They need a list of things you like. You like to know exactly what's going to happen. Like to know exactly what's going to happen, like tomorrow, next week, next year. And you look at the past in order to go, okay, well, this happened this way, this happened this way. So now I know I need to go this way and that should happen. It's kind of like a cause and effect kind of thing. When really, in theory, that is what should happen. Like if you look at the past, what should happen in the future. But since everybody has free will, you cannot control or anticipate what anybody else's reactions are going to be in any situation. So what they're telling me right now is that you are going at this way, 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 way too fast, too hard. The major lesson, and I don't get this for all ones, but I'm getting it for you. The major thing you need to remember here is give yourself a break. Okay. You need to just give yourself a break from all of this. Okay. And they're also saying that when somebody tells you something that doesn't actually match with what you want to hear, you're like, no, but thanks. But thanks. So you need to listen to what other people are saying about anything, not just specifically a situation, but anything, and kind of let it soak in first. And before you decide if you're going to push it away or not. Okay. So let me see what your cards say. Okay. I have a feeling this person's intrigued with you, but again, since you're pushing so hard, I think you're keeping them away. It's like you're putting your hand up, but you're like, come here, come here, come here, come here. But you're putting your hand up, come here, come here, come here, come here. Yeah, if she's a 4, then that means 4s are also very black and white. And they need to know the truth about things. They need to know balance, and they like a firm foundation on things. And yeah, she's not getting a firm foundation on this at all, which is what's keeping her away. You kind of need to let her go and like decide without pushing it. That's exactly what I'm seeing. It's not really enemy. It's like, so you are like a 1 and you have all these attributes, but you have a 1-1, which, but you have all these attributes. And then the 4 is kind of like a number 1, but in depth. Okay, let me see what your cards say here. Hey, Gaggy, I'll be right with you, okay? So the central message here is that you do have a soul connection with this person, and that is what you're feeling. And if you didn't have a soul connection with this person, my guides immediately would have been like, no. But you do have a soul connection with this person. Yeah. I'm just going to tell you this not from a psychic level or spiritual level, but like when women are approached by men that are like overly enthusiastic, because it's like a red flag. Like, yeah, so just stay around, stay nice, stay kind of like at an arm's length, and she will come around. But the center card, it does say that you have a soul connection with this. There are circumstances beyond your control that you do not know about right now. And that is holding a lot of this. So in you pushing, it's not helping those circumstances come up. Is she betrothed or with somebody else? I'm guessing there's something going on there. But those are the circumstances you can't control. You do need to let her come around. That doesn't mean leave her alone. That doesn't mean like, forget about her, ghost her. That just means just kind of be chill, and move along with it. Okay. And maybe this lesson is, and the thing is, I'm seeing probable future here. Maybe the lesson here is that you're learning how to approach situations that you really, really want with a little bit more of a softer touch. So this may not be the relationship for long term for you, even though you do have a soul connection. It's meant to teach you a lesson in that you need to approach things with a bit of a softer touch than what's currently happening. And I think she's wanting you to be a friend. I think she's not opposed to it, but she is just not where you are right now. So just, yeah, kind of chill out just a little bit, and things are going to work out for you well either way. Either way, if you end up with her or not. So just make sure you just have a little bit of a softer approach, okay? Yeah. All right, if you're new here, make sure you put your date of birth in the chat box and put your question in, and I will get to it. I'm open to questions. I'll be here. I'm going to give another 15 minutes. We'll stick around, okay? Make sure you hit that like button and you hit subscribe and hit the bell. I am probably the best psychic you'll find on YouTube. I'm very honest. I'm very upfront. I also have one-to-one spiritual coaching, which helps you with, life path decisions, clearing your karma, and living your highest and best life through the law of attraction. So what I also offer in Patreon members, and the link is below, is one-to-one spiritual coaching to help you through the law of attraction and clearing your karma to live your highest and best life. Great. Thanks, Bob. I have all of that. Great. Okay. So it really depends on free will. I can't give you, and honestly, I do see something happening. I want you to remember this, though. There are things that you don't know about that are holding her back right now. And I have a feeling it has to do with her family and expectations. So remember that we are programmed from birth. We were programmed to live our false self, our ego with what our cultural demands, what our family demands, what our expectations are, no matter what our intuition is saying. So ready to kind of step out into her own life with her own intuition, she will be living in those expectations that she has learned from baby on up. So you do just need to give her time. And my advice coming from source is just saying you need to tell her that. Just tell her, like, hey, I'm here. I don't know what's going on in your life, but I'm here. I'm interested. Find a way to say that softer. I'm interested. Remember me. Like something like I'm enamored by you. That kind of thing, and then just kind of hands off then, because you need to give her time to come around. Because again, there's something here that you don't know what's going on. You might find out eventually, but I can't tell if you're going to date her or not, because I also can't control her free will. I can't see her choices in front of her. So just roll with it a little bit right now, okay? Hey, Lisa, you had a pet problem. Where's Mike? He's sleeping? He's not here. I have pet problems all the time. If you ever hear him, that's because he wants attention and he can't get on YouTube to get my attention. All right, so if you put your date of birth in and ask me a question, I can answer it for you. I'm on here for another 15 minutes. Let me see if there's anything I haven't gone over with topics I wanted to talk about today. Again, I'm going to have group classes opening up in a couple weeks. I'm going to put the registration probably by the end of this week. And those are 4 courses to help people learn, identify their karmic patterns. I'll teach them how to use the law of attraction and how to clear their karmic patterns. And you'll get daily interaction with me along with once a week meetings for 4 weeks. All right. And if you're interested in that, go ahead and put in the chat box if you're interested, or you can email me or DM me on Instagram. Okay. Hold on, Bob. I don't think I am. Sorry, internet issues. No, I'm not on the internet. Bob, we'll look at this afterwards. I don't really understand what I'm looking at. I see a cord. It looks like I'm hardwired in. I don't know what's going on. Sorry. No. Is there something going on? Am I lagging again? What's going on? No, I'm not. I just literally turned the computer on, Bob. Bob's my husband. He's also my moderator. So if you're wondering why I'm talking. um, okay, yeah, I can see you're pushing a lot. Me. Um, sorry if I'm whatever I'm doing. Yeah, my video quality keeps going blurry. I don't know, Bob. You're the IT guy. I have no idea. So I'm sorry if it's going blurry. I'm really sorry. Again, I'm on a small Caribbean island, so I do have a little bit of an issue with Wi-Fi. Okay, Lisa, you're interested. Good. Okay. Have your name down. I'll make sure you send it. I'm sorry. I am on a Caribbean island, but here's the deal. Bob, tell Gaggy that my Wi-Fi is okay. I'm still here. Here's the deal, though. Like, I don't know why this goes blurry. I have no idea. Go ahead. You can ask another question. The reason I'm on a Caribbean island, though, you should all know, is because I cleared up major karma out of myself and then used the law of attraction to get here. So this has nothing to do with like status or money. Like literally, I just said to the universe, guide me where I'm supposed to be. And this is where I ended up. Okay, Gail. Cool. All right. Go ahead, Sai. You can give me another question. That's fine. Let's see. Anything? Oh, I missed this part. What's the most difficult part of making the law of attraction work for you? So when you're talking about law of attraction, what you need to understand is that it's not about just visualizing and waiting for whatever you want to come to you. The law of attraction is very, 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 very rooted in how we feel about our current situation. And the reason I keep, unless you're, what is that girl's name? Like they thought this girl disappeared, and it turned out that her friend's father had been keeping her like as a hostage for like 10 years, but he was keeping her in such a situation that it was not like it. I get this vision of her all the time. It's horribly uncomfortable and painful, and like what he did to her was horrible. And that's what I keep thinking about when people go like, my life is so bad. I think about her because that's a bad situation to be in, you know. But the way she got through that was the focus on, living and seeing her family again. So when we talk about the law of attraction, is the fact that we need to look at our every single moment we have, like now. I want you to all look around right now and go, what is really great about my life? Like right now, I'm like really thankful that Bob's like checking out my IT and like checking them out. I'm okay. Okay, that's a really good thing about my life. My life may not be perfect. Your life may not be perfect, but every single moment that you think about what's great about your life right now is when you know you're going to make the law of attraction work for you in every subsequent moment. Okay, sorry, Gaggy. I don't know. So you say you can't try the law of attraction. The law of attraction isn't things to try because the law of attraction is always in our life. It always is. It always has been. It always will be. So no matter how long you try to use the law of attraction, it's working. So when you're feeling negative, when you're feeling down on yourself, that is exactly when the law of attraction goes, all right, she's ignoring me. She's ignoring me. Why is she ignoring me? Why is she calling me back? The law of attraction goes, I'm going to match that, and she's never going to call you back. So what you need to do is start with yourself and start just putting positive vibes out there. And that doesn't mean like, oh, hey, ladies. Hey, ladies. That doesn't mean that. That means that you just need to be okay in how you are right now and love your position in life right now, no matter if you're with somebody or not. You love yourself. You love your life. And when you love your life unconditionally, that love from the outside will be brought to you. Right now, you are not putting that out right now, Sai. Right now, you are very much focused on, you have a very, very deep, deep wound inside you, and you're focused on either covering up or filling it up with outside validation. And that's a lot of us do that. A lot of us do that with, where we look for other people to validate that we're okay. And really, the law of attraction dictates that we need to validate that we're okay. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. So as long as you're not hurting somebody else, hurting yourself, or plan on doing harm to others, you are perfectly fine. Yes, intention, yes. So Okay, they're telling me everybody needs to hear this who's on this. You need to understand that we're not living this life in order for everybody else to go, oh, that's a good person. That's a good person. It's kind of like what I was saying in the beginning about like when I look in the mirror, like I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm overweight, but I'm like, damn girl, you look cute. You know, like that's what you need to do is you need to look at yourself and think, um, I'm good no matter what. And that's going to put out the vibration because we always have the law of vibration. That's going to put out the vibration to bring the people who know that you're good and know that you're lovable. All right. And that's a message for everybody. Okay. Intention is a huge part of how we live our day. So if you wake up in the morning and you think, oh, it's going to be one of those days, it is going to be a difficult day if you wake up with those thoughts because you have just set that intention. Okay. There are times when you do have to push yourself through this. And I don't like to use the word force, but you do have to push yourself through a little bit of the resistance. And the word resistance is huge right now for you specifically, in that you need to push through this yourself in order to make the law of attraction work in a positive way. So that means when you have doubts about yourself, when you have doubts about relationships, when you have doubts about others, ignore them. Like they are not even there. And that is what you have to do, and think positively. Because once you feel into the situation that you want to have, so for example, let's say you want to, be living on your own in an apartment, free of all drama in a relationship. You sit right now and you think, how's that going to feel? And you get those feelings and you move through them and you keep those feelings with you no matter what happens. Okay? If you're new here, make sure you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button with the bell, because I do go live during the week. I just don't have a set schedule. So that bell helps you know when I'm live to ask me questions during the week. You can also book a session with me. The link is pinned in the chat and also in the description. Or you can message me through DM. If I get to it during the day, I can write you back in DM. Or you can schedule something with me. Or my email address is also, if I haven't put that in the chat box, I can do that if you need to. Anybody have any questions? If you're new, put your date of birth and your question in. We were talking about law of attraction. I was touching on a lot of these universal laws that we as a culture kind of put together under the word karma, even though it's not actually karma. There's 12 different universal laws that I'll talk about as we go along. But today I was just talking about like the law of oneness, how we're all one. The law of vibration and the law of attraction work very in tandem, because the law of vibration is that all of our vibration goes out all the time. And the law of attraction says that using the law of vibration, we move through and attract what we are, not what we want. Remember that. The law of attraction does not fix things. It does not give us what we want. It gives us what we are. So if you're frustrated and negative and don't like your situation in life, that's why you're there, because you keep putting that frustration out. Anybody have any other questions before I go? I'll take a few more questions, or I'm going to tell everybody to have a lovely Sunday. And how long does it take? Oh, I'm sorry. How long does it take to find? Honestly, that question is about, like, he's asking, how long does it take to find a new woman for a relationship? And the thing is, there's no timetable. There's no set timetable, because, you could definitely push through on and find a relationship with somebody, but do you want just somebody? The big thing is that we need to do is, when we look at what we want, we need to I'll get to that in 1 second. I love dogs. Okay. When we look at what we want, we actually need to look at what our karmic patterns are and how to clear that. Because if you're feeling, and I'm really feeling, if you're feeling this strongly, it's like your ego and your pattern, your karma pattern, is saying, well, I must have this, so I'm not going to back down. And that is your karma telling you need to push through this, and you don't need to push through this. You should be clearing this karma, and when you do that, you will find who you're supposed to be with. Your blockage right now is the fact that you're pushing so hard. You think you need to. Is there a reason? Like they're telling me there's a reason you think you need to be doing all of this. Like a timetable, like I'm seeing a ticking clock, like you feel like time's running out, when it really it's not. And those are just expectations put upon you by your programming. What what happens if life path numbers aren't compatible? No, I mean, Bob and I aren't technically compatible. We're not like, incompatible, but we're technically not compatible. And we've been married for like over 20 years. So no, I mean, life path is only about you. Right. And you can't stop thinking about it. That is your false self ego pushing you to do that. You need to ignore it. And I know that's hard. I know it is. So, hey, Torrance. That's my friend Torrance. She is going to be on my spiritual tea series with me. Glad you came up here. So yeah, you can't stop thinking about it because that's your ego pushing you. Your ego, your false self is telling you you're doing something wrong. And you're not doing anything wrong other than listening to your false self and ego. So you need to ignore that. Ignore the thought that something is wrong with you, because there's nothing wrong with you. And I can go more into this if you'd want to make a session with me, because I feel as if this is a huge roadblock for you. Huge. And this is not the first time this has happened. So again, links above and links also in the description if you'd want to talk more about that. So this is my friend Torrance here. She is, you have to ignore your ego. You have to. Your ego does everything that makes you feel good in the moment, but not in the long term. It's only out. It's very, very primal. It's very, very materialistic. It's very in whatever feels good now, do it. And does that ever work out for anybody? If it feels good now, do it. Patience. They're saying patience. So last message I'm getting the overall message here for you is the fact that you are using your ego and your human existence and putting that above the power of the universe. And you have to trust the power of the universe more than what you can control in your life, because the universe will give us more than we ever wanted, ever thought we needed, if we can let go. Yeah. Okay, so Torrance is she's my protege. I've been training her a bit on mediumship, and she's getting on YouTube in a bit. That's her new channel. When she launches it, I'll make sure that you guys will do a collab, and I'll have you guys all go over to her channel and like that. Oh, God, yeah, I forgot that question. I'll get to that, okay? So, yeah, Torrance, what I was saying was that we're going to be doing this. I'm calling it spiritual tea, because it's very light. It's going to be very just kind of fun. We're going to be reviewing all kinds of spiritual movies, TV shows, anything that really comes up. It's going to be Torrance, my friend Holly, my daughter Lily. And I haven't talked about Lily too much, honestly. Lily is probably more gifted than I am spiritually. And when we get together, it's like a spiritual lightning rod. I used to call it paranormal lightning rod, because when we would go places, like seriously, like shit went down. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about my conversations with ghosts on Patreon. Now that I've hit the level of membership that I was making a goal for, all of my interactions with ghosts I'm going to tape, and I'm going to put over on Patreon for my members. If you're interested in hearing any of those, Lily is involved in a lot of them, because again, she's probably more gifted than I am. It scares me just a little bit. But when we get together, like, holy hell, things happen. Okay. So anyway, everybody, welcome Torrance, and check out her page. I don't know if she has it set up yet. I'm not having a chance to look over, but She Talks to Angels is her page. Okay, Gaggy, let's see here. Your reconciliation, I did see it and I skipped it forever. I'm sorry. Is there a reconciliation there for me? Gaggy, you're waiting for somebody to forgive you. It's not about you forgiving them. You're waiting to see if they're going to forgive you. And in my life, generally, I don't wait around for people to forgive me, only because it puts me in a very negative spot. And if you're just waiting around for people, then that does not allow your life to move on. This is all based in free will, and it's not your free will. You can't control what other people's free will and what they're going to do. You can only present yourself in the highest and most positive light that you are. And if it's not, And if it's not matching what they're looking for at that point, my suggestion is just to move on. I mean, reconciliation could be there. The energy for it is definitely one-sided and on you. All right. Did I skip anything else? I don't remember. Will you have a pregnancy coming? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused. I love dogs. Okay. I'm going to get back to you 1 second. I love New Life. I got confused why they're holding that comment, Bob. Can you figure that out for me? YouTube holds comments. I have no idea why sometimes they hold things. I just don't get. So I'm going to have Bob check that out. I love dogs. Let's see. Moving. You're thinking of moving because you think that's going to, you're running from whatever you're feeling right now. Literally the image they keep giving me is opening this door on like a porch overlooking water. And I don't know if that's where you live now, but what I'm seeing is it's like, it reminds me of like a Cape Cod kind of house where like you're opening these white, and they have screens, but you're opening them up. It's on a porch and you're overlooking water, and it's more of like mountainy over here. And I'm not sure if that's where you live now or if that's where you're looking to move, but that's where you should be. Trust me, I understand neighbors. They are not fun when they are not fun. Okay, what I'm going to do for you, I love dogs, since we have a session booked in a week or so, what I'm going to do is draw out what I'm seeing for you. For those of you who don't know, I also am a spiritual artist, so I can sketch what I'm seeing. I don't do it very often because it takes me a lot of time, but she has a session with me, so what I'm going to do is sketch this out for you. And I'll have it ready for your session. I'm definitely seeing specifically, it's like doors, you're opening it up, and this is exactly where you should be living. And I'm not sure if that's where you are now, but this is a very specific view, and they're not giving me anything else. That's where you need to be. So if you're not that now, that's what you need to be looking for. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to show this. Okay. Am I back on New Life now? New Life, pregnancy coming. Thank you. God bless you too. They say this to me for every person who asks me about pregnancy. Okay, so I can tell you exactly the month you'll probably get pregnant, but I'll do that. I can really only do that in a session. What they generally say, and they just said it to me very clearly to you too, was that it's not going to happen in the time frame that you want to happen, only because you're trying to force it. And doesn't this always happen with like people? They're reminding me of like person I know who's adopted, and as soon as they adopted him, they got pregnant because they didn't think they could have kids, and then as soon as they adopted my friend, they got pregnant with a child of their own. And that happens a lot when people are looking to adopt, that they don't think they can have kids, and as soon as they have an adoption, they're pregnant. And that's what they're showing me here in New Life, that you are focusing on this so much and trying so much to have a child in your life that it's kind of like when we focus on having money and it eludes us. Like we can't focus on the money. We need to focus on the quality of our life, the quality of what our life is right now. And when we are finally just secure and love ourselves unconditionally and love our life unconditionally, that which what you want will come. So it's, again, I'm going to go back to the 12 universal laws. Whatever is within is with is so without. So when you feel a certain way within, so you keep saying like, oh, I can't have a child. I can't have a child. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? That is what the universe is giving you, is that you can't have one. So you need to let it go, and then you'll get it. All right. Yeah, Bob actually asks me all the time, like, what are the lotto numbers? And I'm like, dude, it doesn't work like this. I can't give you the lotto numbers. Is it happening soon? It's going to happen soon, as soon as you relax. Like, quite seriously. Let me see if it's going to happen the next 6 months. I can do that real quick. More shuffling. Okay. March, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Okay, so what I'm seeing is by the end of this year, you're finally going to be coming into a connection of unconditional love. So you might be in love now, but you're not in that unconditional love part. And I think it more has to do with you, new life. The way this works is, if you can get to the part where you love yourself and you love your life now in an unconditional way, the timeline moves up. And the longer it takes for you to be to understand that you just need to accept your life now, it won't happen. It'll take longer. So literally, you are standing in your own way of this. Literally, you're standing in your own way. So what you need to do is just relax, feel through the energy of the universe that is going to happen. You are going to have a child. You have another, I keep wanting me to say another child. You are going to have a child, but you need to not focus on the not having it, because when you focus on the not having it, you're going to not have it. You need to focus on what it feels like to be pregnant, have a child, and that sort of thing, and really feel into that, and that's when it's going to happen. All right. When we get into that frustration of why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? The law of attraction looks at that and says, okay, it's not happening. It's still not going to happen. So remember, law of attraction does not give us what we want. The law of attraction gives us what we are. So if you're frustrated, you're going to continue to be frustrated. And that's the major point they're trying to bring out to me right now. Okay, new life. Okay. Are there any other questions? I'm going to go soon. One last call for questions. Remind you, please, to like this live stream, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell, because I go live a few times during the week, and it's not ever scheduled. So when I go live, you'll get alerted if you hit that bell. I also produce and publish educational material on spiritual awakenings, anything under the umbrella of spirituality. My next video is going to be the difference between the dark night of the soul and depression, which there is a huge difference, but sometimes they overlap because at the beginning it feels the same. But there is a definite difference. Hey, Jenny, you're new here. Nice to see you. Do you have a question for me, Jenny? If you do, you can put your date of birth in and you can give me your question. And make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, please. Thanks, Jenny. If you have it, let me answer a question for you while you're here before I go, okay? And let me go back to what I was just saying to New Life, because this is a really important question, a very important concept for everybody to understand, is, again, the law of attraction does not fix things. It does not give us what we want. The law of attraction gives us what we are. All right. So when we go around and we are sitting around frustrated and we're sitting around not liking things, okay, great. I'm going to give you an experience, a message from Holly that I had, it was a day or two ago. Holly, I swear, honest to God, like, life is just like blending together with time. So I don't remember days anymore. But she messaged me a couple days ago and was, she had to drop her daughter off at her ex's house. And she gets very upset because this man was just, he's frustrating in that I know he's a good person at the core, but like all the rest of him is just like, so she always gets upset when she has to drop her daughter off. So if she would walk through life feeling that frustration, feeling that sadness, feeling that guilt for having this child with this person who's not very nice, she would get all of those feelings back to her in every situation in her life. So what she did was she meditated. She did a Ho'oponopono meditation. She released into the universe And the universe, when she gave into the universe and gave into those feelings and then gave them to the universe and then started choosing that she wanted to be more positive and remembering that her daughter is positive and such a bright light in this universe, when she focused on that, it all lifted and her life came back to being positive. And that's what everybody needs to be doing. Right? Not be focusing on frustrations and what you don't have. Focus on what you do have. And what Holly has is a very beautiful, bright light of a daughter. I mean, really, she's gorgeous just inside out. She radiates light. And that's what she needs to be focusing on when she gets kind of into this down, like dropping her off at this person's house. She's like, bleh. All right. Jenny, any message from your guides? Okay, hold on one second. Okay. So Jenny, you have a very cute energy about you. Very it's just reminded me of like that girl everybody wants to be friends with, like when you're little, like, hey, let's go play. Like that's the energy you have right now. Or like at least that is your energy. If you're not feeling it, that is your energy and you need to feel into that. Okay. New life, you are going to have a child. You just need to relax. Yep. Just need to relax. Again, if you want to schedule with me, I pinned it at the top of the chat box and it's also in the description. All the directions are there to schedule a session with me. Jenny, I'm going to put the cards down. I'm not really feeling anything huge that is a life blockage for you at this point. What you might be experiencing are slight annoyances, and I think you're making them into blockages, but nothing that I can feel is actually, like usually when I scan energy, it's like, oh, there it is. I'm not really feeling anything too, life altering for you. But let me see what the cards say. Sometimes, like, I use the cards not only as cards, I use them as a bridge. So if I get quiet, it's because I'm listening to them too. You got the wealth card right away, which matches right with your life path, which I'll explain in a second. Yeah, I mean, the cornerstone of this reading is just blissfully happy. Like, I think you might have times where you're getting negative in specific situations, but your life to me does not feel okay, that's the message. That's what they're saying. They're saying your life is built exactly the way you planned it. And the roadblocks that you face are the ones that you're focusing on and aren't actually as big as what you're feeling. That's what happens really, is when we feel into them, they feel bigger. It's like when we get sick. Oh, I how many people have gotten tests for the wind? I call it the wind because I don't want to get my channel flagged for talking about this like global pandemic. But a lot of people have gotten tested because they felt into being sick, even though they don't actually have it. It's just like psychosomatic where you're feeling into it, so it gets bigger. That's what it feels like, Jenny, for me, that you're it's like mountains out of molehills kind of thing. You have a wealth card in the first card. The central message is that you offer help to people, and help doesn't have to be just wisdom or material things. It could be money, it could be time. You do help people, which is admirable, and you should continue doing that. You do have a joyous vibe about you, which is what I said initially. So your life path's an 8, which is about value, your lessons in life you learn through valuing. So if something isn't valuable to you, and I don't mean like material or money wise, in any way, like time, if you don't find talking to somebody is valuable, you completely ignore them and pretend they're not there. And that's your life path, that you kind of let emotion have a back seat when really it needs to balance your logic. And in that sense, your attitude number when you approach your life is a 4, which is a truth seeker. And that balanced with your life path of, finding value in anything that you do brings forth somebody who's extremely logical and extremely well, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I'm walking away. When really this whole realm of spirituality is illogical. Like, to understand spirituality, you need to be illogical to be logical. And, if you understand that, then you're right there with me. But if you're an 8 with a 4, you're looking for that proof. You're looking for that truth. And that's why you would make the mountains over the molehills, because if something doesn't jive, if something does not click, you're like, well, why not? Why not? Why doesn't this fit? Why doesn't this fit? So what they're saying is, you just need, if it doesn't make sense to you and it's not a big roadblock in your life, just move on. Does that make sense to you, Jenny? Let me know if that makes sense or if I need to clarify any more with you, okay? Oh, thanks, Skaggy. Yeah, I try. That's kind of why I was led to be on YouTube, was that, Holly too. Thanks, Holly. Was that the guides were telling me I need to kind of spread whatever I'm saying to other people. There was no like central message or anything. It was just like, you need to get out there and talk to people. Okay. So I do. All right, Gaggy. Yeah, Jenny, it's like you could have a life that is very admirable and everybody would like to have that kind of life. But I think there's a certain part of you, Jenny, that's like, why is my life this easy? Why am I so happy? And everybody is like, not. So I think there's a little sense of you that's like, maybe I should be upset about this, when really it's okay. Just go with the flow. You're right to do that. And in your false self and ego is what's like making you go, why is everybody else so unhappy and I'm not? So you're on the right road. Just go with the flow. Gaggy. Hey, we have our meeting, all right? Because what I want to do is, like, I want to save all this for our session tomorrow. Your spirit guide is... I'm hearing a man laugh in my head and telling me she should know who I am. Did you have somebody who crossed over and he was like a big guy? Big. Big sense of humor, big burly guy. So if this is not somebody you knew in this life, this is your guide, but you were very close to them and you are still very close to this person in dreams and soul connections. Okay, Tom. He's literally going, she should know who I am. So Tom would be a guide for you in the sense that he's somebody you knew in this life, but he's not a spirit guide. He has chosen to cross over and continue to guide you from the other side. And we all have those people, like my grandmother and Bob's grandmother, for some reason, which is interesting, are guides for me. But they're not spirit guides. They're like people we knew who are now helping us on the other side because they did not help us when they should have here on life in Earth. And they got to their life review and realized, ouch, I should have done this. So now they're helping you from the other side. He's presenting to me as a very large, like, she should know who I am. So yeah, we can get more into it tomorrow. All right, I have been on for almost over 2 hours now. Yeah, Gaggy, I think we are going to talk more about this because he's like still here. So I'm sure we will. All right. So if you are still here and you have not hit that like button, do that now. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell. I am also on Instagram, and I have put my links to contact me, to schedule with me, up above in the chat and down below in the description. And don't forget to share my channel and this live with your friends on social media. If they sign up and your name is in the box, I will give you a bonus gift. Okay? You guys have a lovely Sunday, and I will talk to you soon. Love, light, and blessings.